Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of albums that are 50 years old in 2021. Of course, we are drawing from the magical year of 1971, arguably the greatest year in rock and roll history, as far as like new releases go, right? New releases that year. So we are on day number 13. Okay, so basically how this has worked, or how it's been working and will work. 28 days in the month of February, I have picked out my favorite 28 albums that were released in 1971. So I'm going to give you one pick each day. In addition, I'm going to give you an honorable mention, which draws from the larger pool of albums that I was looking at but didn't quite make the cut. All really good albums, though. So today we're going to take a look at an album released in September 1971, produced by the band for Columbia Records, recorded in Columbia Studios in San Francisco, talking about the third album from Santana, Carlos Santana and Company. You know, those first three Santana albums, actually you can say the first four, self-titled, Abraxas, this third album, and Caravanserai, probably, as good a four albums right out of the gate as you're going to get in rock and roll. All right. Fantastic lineup here. This is, some of the core members of the original band with a couple new guys. You got, of course, Greg Raleigh on vocals and keyboards, Carlos on guitars, a little bit of vocals as well. You got the teenage wonder guitar player just joining the band, Neil Schon. Okay, you've got David Brown on bass. You got Michael Shreve on drums, Jose Chepito Arias on percussion and all sorts of drums and other things, and Mike Carabello also on percussion, drums, vocals, tambourines, all that sort of thing. You got a bunch of guest stars who, appear on this album. You've got Rico Reyes on percussion and vocals. You got Thomas Coke Escovedo on percussion and vocals. Luis Gasca on trumpet. Mario Ochoa on piano. Tower Power horn section on a track. Linda Tillery on backing vocals. Greg Erico on tambourine. And John Fiore actually engineered the album, but this was produced by the band. So, classic tracks on this album. For my money, this might be the early Santana album that maybe rocks the most, but there's still, plenty of those Latin rhythms and the scorching instrumentals, kicks right off with Batuca, sensational. And then, that leads into I Ain't Got Nobody dun, 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 that I can depend on. Great song. Good rockin' song. You got Taboo. You have Toussaint L'Ouverture, all right, another fantastic track. Everybody's Everything, very memorable, lots of good melodies in there. You got Guajira, okay, Vámonos Guajira, great song. A lot of good melodies, really good grooves. You got the instrumental Jungle Strut, okay, you have Everything's Coming Our Way. Another fantastic track, great vocals in that. And then Para los Rumberos, right? So really strong album. Killer guitar playing. I mean, I think this is one of those albums that doesn't get its due when you talk about like those, the twin guitar, dual guitar attack, man. Carlos and Neil just ripping up a storm on here. And it's amazing how good Neil Schon was at such an early age. I don't think he was, what was he, I think 17 at the time, something like that. In 1971, woof, smoking stuff. Smoking stuff. Great album. I still listen to this quite a bit. I dig it a lot. I love the early Santana stuff. I'm a big fan of Santana in general, but those early albums are like, really, really special. So my honorable mention for today, this is one that actually had, as we've talked about, it's really hard putting a list like this together. And especially when you're trying to stretch it out over the course of a month. A lot of days I'm looking at that list I put together and I'm like, I may have to change that pick. I may have to change that honorable mention. It's like, well, you know what? I added that one as an honorable mention, but I took off this other one like 2 weeks ago. and it just completely disappeared from my list. And now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it's got to be back on here. So I've done this multiple times, and I'm sure I will continue to do it for the rest of this month. So this particular one was originally in my top picks of 28, like early on. And then, of course, as you start going through the year and all the releases, you're like, oh, you see all these other albums, and, eventually things kind of move and shake and all that kind of stuff. Well, this one got moved off completely. It went from in my top picks of 28, then to my honorable mentions, then off the honorable mentions, and then yesterday I was like, you know what? That's got to go back into the honorable mentions at the expense of something else. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I got to go with it. So after all that, I'm going to go with the fourth album from Soft Machine. So that, of course, is this one right here. Soft Machine, a great British, what do you call them, early on, a very cool psychedelic band, morphed into kind of like this avant-garde kind of jazz band, and then straight into like a fusion band, right? They did all sorts of things. A band that probably not accessible for mainstream listeners, but if you like progressive music and you like jazz, I mean, their mid-period albums are just absolutely fantastic, and they're very challenging, right? For organ-driven music, okay, bass, drums, organ, woodwinds and horns and things like that. Later on, guitars, but this particular album here, you've got Hugh Hopper on bass. You've got Mike Ratledge on organ and piano, Robert Wyatt on drums, and Elton Dean on alto sax and saxello. Pretty out there stuff. Really cool music, though. You've got Teeth, 9 Minutes and Change, Kings and Queens. You've got Fletcher's Blemish, Virtuality Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4. That basically, takes up the whole second side of the original vinyl. A lot of daring explorations, between sax and the organ. You got the heavy rhythms. Babington was a really good bass player, and just a really, really good album. I like, Soft Machine's third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The first two albums are cool for what they are, but for me, things really took off for this band, their third album, and with the fourth and the fifth and so on. A really, really intense, dark and foreboding, but aggressive, jazz-ish music. Okay, no vocals here, just some really intense stuff that I dig quite a bit. If you've never listened to Soft Machine, I urge you to. Really, really good band. So that's my honorable mention for today, but of course my main pick is the third album from Carlos Santana and Company, Santana 3, or sometimes just called Santana, but it is their third album. I've always called it the third album. So there you have it. So everybody who's watching, in the comments below, let's see your pick of the day. Okay, which is one of your favorite releases from 1971. They're turned 50 this year, as well as an honorable mention. Like I said, we'll be doing this each and every day up until the 28th, including the 28th. And then next month, we're going to move into something totally different. That'll be fun, too. So visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up, got 3 shows for you tomorrow. Got 1 more show for you today. Possibly you may have 4 tomorrow. I am in the process. So today you're going to get a review coming up of this bad boy. All right. I'm also trying to get a couple more listens in on that new Accept album. So if I can squeeze a review of that in tomorrow with the other 3 shows that are planned, I might do that. Then Monday, of course, you got the Hudson Valley Squares live show, all questions from the viewers. That is happening Monday night, and all sorts of stuff happening this week. I mean, the next week is like jam-packed with content. I've got a terrific show midweek, a panel show with some rock and roll experts, guys who know all about the 80s rock scene because they played in it. So more info to come on that, but we got some super guest stars for that coming up this week, and all sorts of other stuff happens. So stay tuned for all of it. Yngwie Malmsteen ranking the albums. We're going to rank favorite albums of Chick Corea now that he's left us. We've got favorite heavy songs, or favorite mellow songs from heavy bands, all sorts of stuff happening. We got Manila Road ranking. So much stuff. So stay tuned for that and more. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're on YouTube all the damn time. If you like what you see, please subscribe. If you like what you see, consider donating to the channel via the Ko-Fi link below. And we've also got a merch site with all sorts of Sea of Tranquility cool things. So consider getting a shirt or a mug or a hat or a beanie or a sticker, whatever you like. Whatever you like. We got all sorts of stuff. So I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.